There's something wrong with Tucker Carlson, but you knew that, right?
How'd that happen?
Right, how did he do that?
No, he's channeling something.
You think
That's
so?
super. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's like no other. I mean, tell me how he did it otherwise. I've asked him about it. How did you do that? At length, he had dinner in my barn recently. We were talking about this. How'd you do that? I don't know. It just came to me. And that's real. That is real. The supernatural is real. And I don't know why it's so hard for the modern mind, I guess because it's a materialist mind, to accept that. But what you see, and that's not a new phenomenon. It's happened throughout history. There are people called prophets, and there are people who were prophets who weren't called prophets, but there are people who have information or parts of information, bits of information, visions of information come to them, and then they relay it.
But that's only part of the story. As you may also know, back in 2012, after 20 children and 6 teenagers were murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, Alex Jones started claiming on his show the shootings never happened, and the whole thing was faked in an effort to enact stronger gun laws. He called it a false flag operation. On the off chance you're lucky enough to not know who Alex Jones is, with apologies, here's a sample.
Sandy Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake. I mean, even I couldn't believe it. I knew they jumped on it, used the crisis, hyped it up, but then I did deep research, and my gosh, it just pretty much didn't happen. I mean, I've interviewed the cops and the people that saw the feds plant the bombs in Oklahoma City. You saw them stage Fast and Furious. Folks, they staged Aurora. They staged Sandy Hook. The evidence is just overwhelming. The Newtown kids, they take them, put them in our face, tell us their names, who they were. I heard an ad this morning on the radio, Bloomberg paid for locally, going, I dropped Billy off and watched him go around the corner, and he never came back, all because of the guns. Won't you just turn your guns in for my son? Why'd you do it to him, gun owners?
In one instance, a family member said that someone urinated on his son's grave and threatened to dig up the body.
And these parents, living the ultimate nightmare, were harassed and threatened by Alex Jones believers who sent threats and even confronted the families in public, calling them crisis actors, telling them their children never existed. I mean, come on, is there anything more obscene than that? And for the record, Republicans refused to tighten gun laws. This whole thing was an omen of sorts, a precursor for the emergence of Trump and the descent of Tucker Carlson, who, like Alex Jones and Trump, is either insane or brilliantly evil. Probably both.
We don't win this election, this country is finished.
But Tucker Carlson's slide has 2 chapters. There's his drift toward insanity, and then there's his hubris, a belief that he is bigger and better than anyone on the political scene. It's the second of these attitudes that cost him his multi-million-dollar gig at Fox and has him now broadcasting from his basement. And Tucker's freedom from Fox News' tacit support of sanity freed Carlson to embrace the most evil notions a person might have. Tucker made it his mission to defend Alex Jones's actions, which caused incalculable suffering to these families. Again, families whose 7-year-old kids were murdered, gunned down in their classrooms. Tucker first defended Jones's actions as a protection of his First Amendment rights to broadcast the lie. But Carlson also intimated that Jones could be right.
We have a ruling class in the United States defined by its hatreds, not its loves, not its hopes, but by its hatreds. They hate all kinds of people, large groups of people, the deplorables, the bitter clingers, America's entire blue-collar population, the unfashionable people. But no one is hated more by them than a man called Alex Jones. Alex Jones is the single most censored man in all American history. He was the first media figure in our history to be completely erased in one day, deplatformed. Alex Jones was deplatformed before it was a common term. And not just deplatformed, sued, attacked. They attempted to criminally charge him. What did Alex Jones do wrong? Alex Jones didn't rape anybody. He didn't loot Macy's. He didn't burn a police station. He didn't invent a fake cryptocurrency and loot pension funds. He didn't start a pointless war that made this country poorer and more disorganized. He didn't open the southern border. No, Alex Jones had opinions that deeply rattled the people who run America.
Today, as Tiny Fingers lies repeatedly about everything from the state of the world to his place in it, we see Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones's place in this growing, dangerous narrative as an outgrowth of the world that Trump tapped into.
And we're going communist, don't kid yourself.
Today, Tucker uses religion and spirituality to defend Alex Jones and uses his falsely constructed approach to further divide us into camps. Just as our founding fathers never anticipated the destructive nature of a two-party system, the world never anticipated the effect social media would have on the truth. Without YouTube, Twitter, and especially websites dedicated to creating lies and obfuscations, there would never have been an Alex Jones. But his site, InfoWars, was dedicated to transforming the truth into made-up, frightening scenarios that would encourage acts of violence against innocent people.
I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will.
Now, Tucker Carlson doesn't need the money. He's an heir to $1 billion, and he made tens of millions while on Fox News. Now, Carlson doesn't need the money, but he needs the adulation, and that's even more dangerous. Over the years, he's lied about events that we knew were just that, fabricated stories to attract attention, being the growing power of algorithms. Attract attention to him. From white supremacy to January the 6th, through the ascent of this petulant skin tag, Tucker transformed from a bow-tied mama's boy to a dangerous figure in American culture.
Lies about January 6th, which have been relentless, have enabled some of the most unscrupulous people in our country to make a mockery of our Bill of Rights and to steal our core freedoms. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided. The whole thing is a lie. It's actually not a real problem in America. White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax. Just like the Russia hoax. It's a conspiracy theory used to divide the country and keep a hold on power. That's exactly what's going on.
What is wrong with you?
You know, perhaps the marriage of Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson makes sense, being that both have been tossed aside by pragmatists inside Fox News and Trump's inner circle. Trump's rise is based not on crazy conspiracies or a bent ideology, but instead on money and self-preservation. Combined with his remarkable talent of self-promotion wrapped inside his sociopathy, Trump stood on the shoulders of crazy and attracted the underbelly of American culture to follow his outrageous claims and conspiracies.
I don't know what I said.
He doesn't believe a word he says unless his declining cognitive state has brought him to a level where his paranoia and cruelty have taken over his old personality, and Tucker was paying close attention.
Love of Christ, the stories of the Holy Bible, and the voices of famed evangelical people. And
Just this week, it was reported that an illegal and you just look at the work out too well. $1.2 trillion for their fake infrastructure battle that was Gettysburg. Wow, so beautiful in so many different ways. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow.
There was actually a thought in the last 6 months that Tucker might be Trump's VP in the 2024 race. But although he didn't shoot a puppy, Tucker's embrace of the crazy has made him a liability. And think about that for a second.
it's very simple to, you're a nasty person.
How effed up do you have to be a liability to a Trump campaign? Alex Jones has been in court a lot over the last 5 years and is now burdened by his own actions by a fine to the tune of over $1 billion. There was a settlement of around $100 million, all of which will go to parents and other funds to protect children. And in his defense, Jones now claims to be an actor himself and that he was being satiric and never intended to harm anyone. Now, most of those old shows in question are off YouTube and his own website, but they were horrible, accusing these parents of faking the horrific deaths of their own children. And while Alex Jones has found Jesus, Tucker Carlson thinks he is Jesus, and his defense of Alex Jones as a prophet is a remarkably ironic homophone, because whereas Tucker is about the power, Jones was always about the money. Donald Trump has appeared on both Tucker Carlson's show as well as Alex Jones. There is no bottom for Trump, Jones, and Carlson. They continue to twist the truth into ratings, algorithms, or as we'll see this fall, an election. If politics is where nuance goes to die, here's where the truth will meet its end.
The 2020 presidential election was not fair.
It just pretty much didn't happen.
The only way we're going to lose this election is if the election is rigged.
But seriously, if these three can end it all, how strong were we anyway?
Who's with me?
Hi, what's up?
On speed or something?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, right.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donald.
Thank you so much for watching. You know, YouTube frequently penalizes my videos for taking on controversial subjects, hurting our ability to earn ad revenue, which we use to hire more hosts and make more videos. We think it's so important to make these videos now and expose the Republican cult. So please join us on Patreon. The link is in the comments. We literally can't make these without you. Thank you so much. For Really American Media,
All of a sudden, this guy is like
Amped.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.